Hello and welcome to my deep look into the electric blast furnaces from the GT5U unofficial by Bloody Aspen. Well, the first step is to actually just build it. So for that, let us get all the materials that is required to build one. You always gonna need at least start with the controller, an electric blast furnace controller, and then one input and one output, and also an input hatch. Also gonna require some place to actually insert energy into the multi block, and a maintenance hatch. This is just a personal opinion of mine, but I like to place it in the opposite side of the control block. And then you fill the gaps with the heat-proofing machine casing, or more of one of the other certain stuff, except the maintenance hatch and the control block. There can be only one. Then we're gonna place a couple nickel coils. That is the first one we can make into this shape, circular, what cubic shape around it, and 2 layers of it. Then the last layer, gonna place more heat-proof machine casings around it, and place a muffler hatch into the center of it. And it has format. If we click here into the control block, we see that we have all these troubles here, except this one here, because we have fixed it. If I break on block, it will say incomplete structure. So let's place it back so it is completed. Now, as you see, everything here is low voltage because we cannot make anything of medium voltage yet. We need to use the blast furnace to make the material of medium voltage, that is aluminum. However, to process aluminum, we need to blast it into the blast furnace with a certain amount of EU per take, 120, but I just have only low voltage energy hats, and those can only do 32 EU per take, and each energy hat can only take up to 2 amperages of low voltage, so that is not enough to complete the process with just one. However, if you place 2 of it, that will be the two together, gonna make 4 amperages, making 128 EU per tick. But that is not nearly enough, because we have a little trouble here, or problems. As you see, we have a lot of problems here. Each one of these problems here increase the amount of energy required for the recipe by 10%. This means that looking at the aluminum recipe that require that 120 EU per tick, each probably increases 10%, so each one gonna give it will require more 12 EU per tick. And just one problem gonna bring this up from what the 2 energy hatches can provide. So let's first fix the problems. We just go into the maintenance hatch right here into the back and start to use our tools to fix it, like the wrench, like a hammer, a soft mallet, a screwdriver, and a crowbar. That are normally the 5 tools that you're gonna use most of the times. Looking here, everything is fixed except this one. In the past, we could not fix this recipe at once because we did not have the tool for it. But now in GT5U, we have the access to the soldering iron. The recipe is not that difficult. The most troublesome thing is to have a small lithium battery, and you can only use a small lithium battery. After you make it, you just go here and just right click it here into this not repair, but you're gonna require power and soldering materials. Soldering materials can lead, tin, and soldering alloy, of course. You can either use rods of it or fine wires. Of course, wires are more profitable because we can get a lot more fine wires from an ingot than just rods that are gonna be like you just one to one. So let's see if we can fix this. I cannot fix this because this tool is given by Creative, so it does work actually. On normal Greg Tech, the only way to fix that problem was to duct tape. But because the recipe itself requires a medium voltage, you will only be able to actually fix that when you got into the aluminum to make that. On that type of case, the best thing to do is to just place another energy hatch. Like here, you come here and place a third one. So this will be able to will allow us to smelt our metals here even if we have one trouble. Then it's just a question of the get the energy supplied to the energy hatches through amperage for each hatching and keeping blasting your metals here. But that is not all. Some metals require something different, like steel for one example. You can see that into the blast furnace, a steel dust can be blasted normally, but that's not all. If to blast iron into steel, you need liquid, an oxygen, and that's what the input hatch is for. Simply come here, place your material, and it's loaded. So you can work your material with no problem now. Some mod packs change the way this works, so you're gonna require other materials and even sometimes circuits into the input bus to work. The best way to make steel is to make not pig iron, that's not a good name. Rogue iron with oxygen. It is very cheap in power and very quickly. But the blast furnace is not harmless. It knows make pollution, as on the two tips say, it causes 100 pollution per second. So this means that as long as this is running, it's gonna be causing pollution, and the pollution is gonna come out for the muffler, of course. But since this is the low voltage muffler, it don't reduce pollution in a single bit, so it's not that helpful. When you have enough aluminum, I believe that one of the best things to do with the first ones is to firstly make a better muffler hatching and then upgrading your energy hatches and energy storages for the energy for the blast furnace. Because making mufflers of a higher voltage, you're gonna reduce further the pollution. The low voltage, no reduction. The medium voltage, 30% reduction. That's good. Then high voltage, 52%, and so on until you get to the max of it that reduce pollution to only 5%. This is good because for as long as the blast furnace is running, it's gonna generate pollution. And when you take into account the pollution that the other machines produce, like auto multi-blocks, power generation, and other stuff, they gonna die pretty quickly. So whenever you have the next material for metals ready, make it a muffler hatch and upgrade them as soon as possible, and you won't have trouble with the pollution for a good amount of time. But that's not all. Just upgrading your energy hatches is a good thing, but sometimes it's not, because it still follows the same recipe of the other machines. That means that if I make my electric blast furnace high voltage, but the aluminum only require medium voltage, it means that they are gonna be overclocking the blast furnace. It's gonna cook the aluminum twice as fast, but use twice as much energy. So when that happens, you can actually make keeping some blast furnaces at the voltage of the material that you are most cooking at the moment. And later on, you can just simply make another blast furnace in the side of this one here. They can share walls pretty well with no problem. Just place everything that the other blast furnace have, like coils, controller block, and all that stuff, and you're gonna have a double blast furnace with no trouble. Don't forget that control blocks and maintenance hatch cannot be shared. See? The structure is not incomplete. The maximum you can have into one place is a quadruple blast furnace like this one here. Just place everything into space correctly and you can be pretty much safe. Remember that the center block here is a block that is shared with all the blast furnaces. So this makes it a perfect for the input hatch of it. Later on you may want to upgrade the input bus and output bus to hold more items and more outputs, because sometimes the system may not keep up and clog the system. The machine is gonna continue to work even if the output is full, so you're gonna be wasting your precious metals and power. Also, the muffler must be not obstructed. If you obstruct the muffler like this here, at first it will not gonna start working. And if you block it after it has started working, well, pollution wants to go out and there's something blocking. That's not gonna wend well with black tech, does it? Now, thinking about something that has added not long ago, is that now the coils has not only a function to make the recipes but also a bonus. It is set into the tooltip of the blast furnace itself that for each 900 Kelvin over the minimum heat capacity grants 5 speed. So if I just substitute this copper nickel for this counter coils, our recipe that are below the threshold of this one here, we're gonna cook 5% faster. And for each 1800 Kelvin of the minimum capacity allows for one upgraded overclock. As I said before, overclock makes the machine work twice as fast, but it uses twice as much energy, because it actually quadruples the energy consumption. But since it's just half of the time, it's gonna consume only half of the increased energy, making 2 times. But an upgraded overclock reduces the receipt time to 1/4 of the time. So this actually means that it's gonna work extremely fast and don't use any extra energy. So that is very, very good. But getting the coils to make such a huge gap of tiers is not easy. The nichrome to the canto is at that limit. But now we have more coils. We have tungsten steel, high speed steel G, Naquada, and Naquada alloy. So Naquada alloy the most strong one, but I don't need to tell you that is very problematic. When the blast furnace is running, there is a little very bit chance that to generate one trouble. And that trouble gonna increase the energy of it. But when you fail your recipe, normally because you don't provide enough energy for it to run completely, there is a bigger chance to cause a problem into the system. And you need to keep checking it to see if there's any problem or not. Or we could do something more advanced like placing a need maintenance cover that when a multi-block requires some maintenance, it's just gonna emit a headstone. See? It's need maintenance. A lot of it. Now let's fix it. Or should we be able to fix it? With a duct tape. Make it that very beautiful sprite. Now place it again. Invert it and it's okay. But we have an upgrade version of it. But that is very expensive. The auto maintenance hatch for automatically maintaining multi-blocks. But as you can see in the tooltip, it requires 4 duct tapes, 2 lubricant cells, 4 steel screens, and 2 advanced circuits for each auto repair. So if I try to place it here, I need to place everything here, and it's gonna consume everything to repair each one of these things. This is very expensive. But when you can probably make this that is into the insane voltage tier, that might not be that too much trouble for you rich people. So that's gonna be it for this update into my GT 5 sneak peek on a electric blast furnace. Even though I made that video so many years ago, I still receive views for it, so I guess making an updated version of it might help you understand a little more of this machine. So this was Umgod, thank you for watching.